This is a video summarizing some of the maths we know today. Mathematics is made out of two words, math, which means to calculate, and matics, which means methods. It has 5 branches in total: numbers and operations, algebra, geometry, reasoning and logical thinking, and information handling. Let's discuss the first branch of mathematics, which is numbers and operations. Let's discuss about the first subtopic of numbers and operations, number theory. Number theory is a branch of pure mathematics devoted primarily to the study of the integers, arithmetic functions, and more. The second topic is measurements. Measurements quantify the characteristics of an object or event, which we can compare with other things or events. The third topic is numbers and operations. The 4 basic operations leading to all operations and results. Fractions represent the part of a whole or collection of objects. Roman numbers are the symbols used in a system of numerical notation based on the ancient Rome system. Factors and multiples. Factors are numbers that divide the given number without leaving a remainder. Multiples are the number obtained as a product of a given number and integers. HCF and LCM. The HCF defines the greatest factor present in between given 2 or more numbers, whereas LCM defines the least number which is exactly divisible by 2 or more numbers. Percentage and decimals. The word percent simply means per hundred, and a decimal is a number that consists of a whole and a fractional part. Direct and indirect variations. A direct variation shows both variables changing the same way, meaning both variables are increasing or both are decreasing. In an indirect variation shows both variables changing oppositely. When one increases, the other decreases. A set is defined as a collection of distinct, well-defined objects forming a group. De Morgan's law. The complement of the union of two sets is the intersection of their complements. Venn diagram. A Venn diagram is an illustration that uses overlapping circles to show the logical relation between 2 or more sets of items. Rational and irrational numbers. Rational numbers are numbers that can be written as fractions or a ratio. Irrational numbers are numbers that can't be written as a fraction or a ratio. Conversion. Conversion is the process of changing the value of one form to another. Exponents. The method of expressing large numbers in the term of powers. Money management. Money management refers to how you handle all of your finances, from budgeting to investing to saving and setting goals. Matrices. A rectangular arrangement of a collection of numbers into a fixed number of rows and columns. Real and complex numbers. Real numbers include all decimal fractions, negative and positive integers, whereas complex numbers can be written as the sum or difference of a real number and imaginary number. Include numbers like 4 minus 2i or 6 plus 6i. Logarithms. A quantity representation, the power to which a fixed number, the base, must be raised to produce and give number. Functions. A function is a relationship process between inputs and outputs. Ratio proportions. A proportion is an equation in which two ratios are set equal to each other. Surds. Surds are the value in square root that cannot be further simplified into whole numbers or integers. Theorems. A statement that can be demonstrated to be true by accepted mathematical operations and arguments. Series and sequences. A sequence is defined as an arrangement of numbers in particular order. On the other hand, a series is defined as a number of elements arranged randomly. Mathematical induction. A technique of providing a statement, theorem, or formula which is thought to be true for each and every natural number. Binomial expansion. A binomial expansion is a method used to allow us to expand and simplify algebraic expressions in the form x plus y into a sum of terms of a form ax, by, c. Integration of technology. The use of technology to enhance and support the educational environment in accordance to numbers and operations. Let's talk about the second branch, which is algebra. Patterns. A sequence of repeating objects, shapes, or numbers. Symbolic notation. Symbolic notation refers to the writing a mathematical statement given in words using mathematical symbols. Algebraic expressions. An expression which is made up of a variable and constant along with an algebraic operation. Algebraic formulas. Algebraic formulas are the combination of numbers and letters to form an equation or formula. Polynomials. An algebraic expression which consists of a variable, coefficient, and mathematical operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Linear equations. An equation in which each term is either a constant or contains only one variable, in which each variable has an exponent of 1, and which always has a straight line as a graph. Simultaneous linear equations. Two or more linear equations that all contain the same unknown variable. Factorization. Factorization is when you break a number down into smaller numbers that can be multiplied together, and that gives you that same original number. Linear inequality. The expressions where any two variables are compared by the inequality symbol. Quadratic equations. A quadratic equation is an algebraic equation of the second degree in x. The quadratic equation in its standard form is ax2 plus bx plus c equals 0, where a and b are the coefficients, x is the variable, and c is the constant term. Partial fractions. The fractions used for the decomposition of a rational expression. Complex coefficients. Complex numbers are the numbers that are expressed in the form of a plus ib, where a, b are real numbers and I is an imaginary number called iota. The value of I is the square root of -1. For example, 2 plus 3i is a complex number where 2 is a real number and 3i is an imaginary number. Homogeneous. An equation is called homogeneous if each term contains the function or one of its derivatives. Non-homogeneous. A non-homogeneous system of equations is a system in which the vector of constants on the right hand side of the equal sign is not 0. Matrix inversion. Just like a number has its reciprocal, even a matrix has an inverse. If we consider a matrix A, we denote its inverse as A minus 1. The inverse of a matrix is another matrix that, when multiplied by the given matrix, yields the multiplicative identity. Kramers rule. Kramers rule is a method for solving systems of linear equation. Gauss's elimination. Rolle's reduction algorithm for solving linear equation systems. Gauss-Jordan method. The Gauss-Jordan method focuses on using elementary rows operations to transform a matrix into reduced rows echelon form. Differentiation, a method used to compute the rate of change of a function f(x) with respect to its input x. Integration. Integration is a method of adding or summing up the parts to find the whole. Euler's identity. Euler's identity is a fundamental equation in mathematics that connects 5 fundamental mathematical concepts: E, I, pi, 1, and 0. It states that E, power of I pi plus 1 is equals to 0, where E is Euler's number, I is the imaginary unit, pi is the mathematical constant pi, and 1 and 0 are the additive and multiplicative identities respectively. Nonlinear equations. A nonlinear equation can be defined as the equation having the maximum degree 2 or more than 2. It forms a curve on the graph. Numerical methods. Technique to approximate mathematical processes. Integration of technology. Technology enhances math education by providing interactive and personalized learning experiences. Let's discuss about the third topic of mathematics, which is geometry. Geometrical shapes, the figures which represent the form of different objects. Measurables, something capable of being measured. Shapes. A shape is a figure that is defined by its boundaries. Common basic shapes include squares, circles, rectangles, and triangles. Standard conversions. Conversions is the process of changing the value of one form to another, for example, inches to millimeters. Line. A one-dimensional figure which has length but no width. Area and perimeter. Perimeter is a distance around the outside of a shape. An area is defined as the total space taken up by a flat 2D surface or shape of an object. Angles. A figure which is formed by two rays or lines that shapes a common endpoint. Triangles. A triangle is a polygon with 3 sides having 3 vertices. Side angle side is SAS. Angle side angle is ASA. Side 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 is SSS. Angle 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 is AAA. If you are given these, you can find the other measurements of a triangle. Acute and obtuse right angle triangle. A right angle triangle has one angle that is 90 degrees and a corner that looks like an L. Obtuse triangle has one angle that is greater than 90 degrees and an acute angle has all the angles less than 90 degrees. Quadrilaterals. A quadrilateral is defined as a two-dimensional shape with 4 sides, 4 vertices, and 4 angles. parallelogram is a quadrilateral with two pairs of parallel lines. Circle, a round-shaped figure that has no corners or edges. Conics. Conic sections a geometry, any curve produced by the intersection of a plane and a right circular cone. Trigonometry, a branch of mathematics considered with relationships between angles and side lengths of triangles. Tri means three, gono means sides, and metry means measurements. Which three sides, base, hypotenuse, and perpendicular. Degrees into radians. A degree is a unit of measurement which is used to measure circles, spheres, and angles, while radians is also a unit for measurements which is used to measure angles. Tangents, a line that touches the curve or a circle at a point. Vectors in space. A vector in a three-dimensional space is a mathematical object that possesses both magnitude, length, and direction. It is typically represented by an arrow starting from the origin 0, 0, 0 to the point x, y, z, each representing a coordinate in space. Integration of technology. The use of technology to enhance the student learning experience in terms of geometrical shapes. Let's talk about the fourth branch of mathematics, reasoning and logical thinking. Sort, classify, and compare. Sorting involves grouping items according to certain characteristics or attributes. Classifying means applying a characteristic to a group or set. Comparing is a process or method in which one can determine whether a number is smaller, greater, or equal to another number according to their values. Analytical reasoning, the ability to look at information and discern patterns within it. Reasoning, the process of applying logical thinking to a situation to derive the correct problem-solving strategy for a given question and using the method to develop and describe a solution. Argumentation, the act or process of forming reasons and of drawing conclusions and applying them to cases in discussion. Logical thinking. Logical thinking requires the use of reasoning skills to study a problem critically, which will enable you to draw a reasoned decision on how to proceed. Mathematical relationship, the connection between sets of numbers or variables. Investigations. Math investigations are investigations that require pupils to collect and analyze data and use it as evidence to help them solve a problem. Strategies, a general plan to achieve one or more long-term or overall goals under conditions of uncertainty. Formulations, a rule or fact written with mathematical symbols. Step-by-step deduction, a process of reasoning that involves drawing a conclusion based on a set of premises or assumptions. Optimization. Mathematical optimization is a selection of the best element based on a particular criterion from a set of available alternatives. Integration techniques used for integrating and adding values on a larger scale. And finally, the last branch of mathematics, which is information handling. Data representation, graphs that display and summarize data and help us to understand the data's meaning. Charts, graphs, tables. A chart, also known as a graph, gives a graphical representation of data using bars, lines, or sometimes pictures. A table gives the information with words or numerical data. Infographics, a collection of imagery, data visualization like pie charts and bar graphs, and minimal text that gives an easy to understand overview of a topic. Mean, mode, and media. Mean is an average of all the numbers. Media is the middle number when in order. Mode is the most common number. Integration of technology, the use of technology to enhance the support and the educational environment in accordance to data and information handling.